Right. What a weird one that was over the weekend. Obviously, we had Canelo versus Charlo, which I obviously made my prediction about. I thought Canelo was going to win in a close decision, and it was really anything but. The way I saw the fight going was that Canelo would do good early because of Jamel's long layoff, and him kind of had something to prove. It would get close midway through, and Jamel would take over later on. Now, at first, I did think this is how it was going to go. Canelo did very well early on. Jamel was starting to plant his feet a little bit more, but he just did nothing with that. He actually did hit Canelo for couple good left hooks, which was one of the punches I thought would be key for Jamel. They never did anything. They didn't even move Canelo. He's obviously got that granite chin, and Jamel moving up 2 weight divisions just had no power at super middleweight. I think Canelo is somewhat back closer to his old self. He looked a lot more fleet-footed. Obviously, in the early stage of the first round, for the first minute, we did not have a punch thrown, but you could just tell by watching that Canelo just looked a lot more fleet-footed. His footwork looked really good, and this is basically the closest we're ever going to get to the old Canelo. Obviously, I would like to see the head movement, but then there wasn't really. We don't actually know if the old Canelo is back, right? Because Jamel didn't do anything. I expected it to be quite a close fight, and it was looking like it was going to go a similar way to what I thought, but then Jamel just eventually did nothing, and it really proved just why weight classes are a thing. And obviously I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my breakdown of the fight. I did think there were two ways the fight could go. It would be close or it would be one-sided from Canelo. I'm not sure if I said that, but I hope I did, because that is what I thought. But obviously, the way I did choose it to be a little bit closer, I thought Jamel would shock us a bit. And one thing I've noticed is that I remember when Sean Strickland fought Israel Adesanya 3 weeks ago, and I thought on the walkout, even though Sean looked nervous as hell, I was thinking in my head, he's going to win this. And I picked Izzy to win. I was like, he's going to win this. I just had a feeling. But usually I get that feeling when people are making the walkouts, and I tweet it out and they get it wrong. I decided not to tweet it out, and look what happened. Obviously, I did the same thing last night, but I actually tweeted it out saying Jamel's not going to win, but he's going to have a shockingly good performance, and he had a shockingly terrible performance. Canelo looked good. He pretty much pressured him the whole fight. Jamel's lateral movement was good. He just didn't really throw any punches. Canelo's footwork looked good. He was cutting off the ring. He obviously dropped Jamel in the 7th round. Jamel just took a knee. Canelo didn't really drop him as much as Jamel just went down. It was an interesting fight. It was a very weird fight. The undercard wasn't anything special. You had Ugas, which was Ugas versus Mario Barrios, which was the only fight I was really interested in. Ugas is done. Errol Spence did irreparable damage to that man. Barrios looked good. He throwing combos, jab worked really well. It was. His eye just completely shut. I think it should have been stopped around the 10th, not because Ugas was hurt. It was more because you got to think about the long-term damage with the eye, and he's just come off an 18-month layoff after having surgery on the eye. It's just something to consider. An interesting thing is actually Kamel Morton, Floyd Mayweather's protege, actually made his debut on this card, but interestingly, it wasn't on the card. It was the walkout fight. So when the show was all over, that's the fight it was weird. I was expecting to put that at least on the prelims. He fought a 4-0 opponent, got him out in the first round. I can't really take much from the footage that I've seen because it was filmed on a phone and it looked a million miles away. So it wasn't it was unfortunate that wasn't broadcasted because that's a very interesting fight. Fought a 4-0 opponent, and yeah, you got the job done. In terms of their next moves, Canelo should fight David Benavidez on the 5th of May next year. That's the fight to make. If not, a Bivol rematch. I don't want to see the Crawford fight anymore. I did think Crawford was going to win, but I was looking at the version of Canelo from the Bivol, Golovkin, and John Ryder fight. He does not. I don't think he could withstand the punishment coming up 3 weight divisions. But if he wants to do it, he can do it. I wouldn't advise it, but I'm not his manager. Jamel should go back down to super welterweight. Reevaluate a bit, take a bit of time off, not too much time off. Fight Tim Tszyu, try and get that belt back. Jamel's in a very tricky position because he shouldn't. I don't think he should fight Crawford, even though that would be a more competitive fight, and probably even then it might not be. We got Crawford coming off that amazing win over Errol Spence, which is completely one-sided. That just seems to be a thing this year in boxing. All these big fights are just completely one-sided. I don't know. Canelo should fight David Benavidez or the Bivol fight. Jamel should just fight Tim Tszyu or one of his other mandatories. I don't know who his other mandatories are. I'm sure he's got other mandatories. But obviously, Tim Tszyu has that WBO belt. Jamel stripped of it as soon as the fight ring walk happened. Oh, that's a good fight. I don't know if he beats him. Probably not at this point. Tim Tszyu looks good, young, hungry. He's got a fight coming up. We'll see how he does in that, and then it really depends on how Tim Tszyu looks in his next fight. Yeah, it was an interesting fight. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything terrible though. We got a bit from it, but we can't really take too much from it. He looked a lot better, but we need to see him against a guy who's actually going to fight him. Obviously, I give respect to Jamel, but I give respect for him just getting in the ring and fighting and actually getting in there, but I don't give respect to his performance, if that makes sense. Yeah. Bivol actually did say he was interested in coming down to 168. Do that. That sounds good to me. I think he still beats him. Bivol beats him again. Yeah. That was just my thoughts on the fight card. Overall, it wasn't a bad card. It was okay. There was a robbery in the co-main event. I don't know how that fight went that way, but it was just a weird night. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you guys in a bit.